Welcome to our podcast. World War I changed a lot of things. There were so many battles and events during that time. But have you ever wondered why the Gallipoli campaign stands out so much? It's one of those events that makes people curious. Why did it become such a big focus during the war? What made it so significant?
That's a great question. Well, the Gallipoli campaign had a very unique background. It was an attempt by the Allies to break through Turkish defenses. This campaign wasn't just about fighting, it was also about making complex plans. The whole situation was quite difficult and full of challenges. In the next episode, we'll talk more about how these plans came together.
Thinking back to World War I, the impact it had was massive. One event in particular catches attention: the Gallipoli campaign. This operation involved huge efforts in many countries, and it became a key point during the war. But what exactly happened there that made it such a focal point?
The Gallipoli campaign is indeed curious. It started as a plan by the Allies to take control over the Dardanelles. The campaign was planned with great complexity and faced many challenges. It's a tough topic with many layers. Next time, we'll dive into how the whole planning phase took place.
When World War I started, many countries worked together in alliances. The decision to act against Turkey was made by the Anglo-French leaders. Their target was the Dardanelles Channel. This channel was very important because it was a key route to reach Constantinople. Controlling it would give huge advantages to the Allies. It could help them establish better supply lines and support Russia. But it also meant facing strong Turkish defenses.
At first, many military planners were unsure about this operation. They knew it would be risky to fight in such a difficult area. But things changed in November 1914. The importance of the operation was reconsidered because Turkey entered the war. Reaching a decision took time, but Winston Churchill, who was a big supporter of it, played a huge role. He believed in the power of a strong naval attack and pushed for this plan.
The choice was made to focus on the Dardanelles. Plan was to launch a naval operation using ships that were not new, but functional. These older ships were chosen because they were not needed for other major naval battles. It was a smart way to use resources while attempting to break through. But using these ships came with challenges too. They had to face strong fortifications along the straits.
The plan was slightly changed after reconsidering the risks. It was clear that Navy couldn't do it alone. It was decided to bring in a large group of soldiers to hold the shores after naval forces moved through. That's when General Sir Ian Hamilton came into the picture. He was chosen to lead the soldiers. Troops started to gather in Egypt, and French forces also agreed to send help. The stage was set for a combined naval and military operation.
The start of the campaign was filled with challenges. On February 19, the Navy started bombarding the Turkish defenses. But right after the first attempt, bad weather got in the way, which was frustrating. Weather was a big problem during this time. Despite this, there were still some landings by Marines. They were able to land without much resistance. These were small steps, but they were very important.
The Navy tried again in March with more naval attacks. On March 18, everything seemed ready, but trouble wasn't far behind. They lost 3 battleships, and some others got damaged. This was hard to handle. These losses made them realize that they couldn't continue just with the Navy. More help would be needed from the Army. It showed that more planning and support were needed.
As a result of the problems at sea, more troops were gathered. They came together at Lemnos Island, which was a bit like a big meeting place for them. Finally, on April 25, 1915, the major landings began. This was a big moment, and a lot was riding on it. You can imagine the tension as they prepared to land on the Gallipoli Peninsula, wondering what awaited them.
The forces landed at 2 main locations. There was Cape Helles, where the British and Royal Naval Divisions tried to hold ground. And then there was Anzac Cove, where the Australian and New Zealand troops landed. These soldiers faced strong defenses from the Turks. They were up against Mustafa Kemal, a brilliant leader who made it really hard for them to advance. He became quite famous after his defense.
Now let's talk about the Anzac troops and their role in the Gallipoli campaign. The Anzac troops were made up of soldiers from Australia and New Zealand. Their first challenge was at Anzac Cove. It was a very hard place to fight. The Turkish forces were strong, and the land was tough to move through. Even though the Anzac troops showed great bravery, the battles there turned out to be very difficult.
The landing at Suvla Bay was also crucial. It looked like a great chance at first. When the British and other troops landed there, they made some quick progress. But things changed fast. The advance was stopped, and the troops faced a lot of challenges. Unlike at Anzac Cove, the terrain was more open, but Turkish troops were alert and ready. The fight quickly became hard, and progress was slow.
To try and push forward, more troops from Britain and its allies were sent to help. These reinforcements included soldiers from other countries in the British Empire. Even with more people, the Turkish defenses got stronger. The Turkish soldiers were defending their land fiercely and made it very hard for the invaders. This led to long periods where not much progress was made. The Anzac and other forces gave their best, but they kept facing big challenges.
Leadership during those battles was another issue. There were problems with making the right tactical decisions. Supplies were low, and weapons were sometimes not enough. Not having enough shells made it harder to fight effectively. All these factors made it tough for commanders. Even skilled leaders found it hard to make any real progress on the ground. The big hopes for the campaign slowly started to fade due to these struggles.
While the battles at Gallipoli were intense, there were big changes happening behind the scenes. In May 1915, Admiral Lord Fisher stepped down because he didn't agree with the Gallipoli plans. It was a sign of growing disagreements in the leadership. Many were questioning if the whole strategy was really a good idea. The challenges they faced on the ground made these disagreements even more important.
And then there was a big change in who was leading the troops. General Sir Ian Hamilton, who had been heading the operation, was called back home. The new person in charge was Lieutenant General Sir Charles Munro. Munro had a fresh view and believed that continuing the campaign might not be the best move. His leadership brought a different dynamic to how things were done there.
When Lord Kitchener, a highly respected leader, visited the Gallipoli Peninsula, he had important observations. He concluded that the plans were facing too many obstacles, making success difficult. This led to discussions in Britain about changes in leadership. Politically, there was a shift too. Back home, there was a big change in the government. The Prime Minister's views were challenged, leading to a shift from a single party to a coalition government.
Speaking of changes, Winston Churchill also experienced a big shift in his career because of the campaign. He was a strong supporter of the operation, but after the setbacks, he left his government role. He decided to join the army in France, taking on a different responsibility as a battalion commander. This move was surprising to many but showed how deeply he felt about making a positive impact. These changes affected not just military tactics but also leadership paths.
After all the intense battles and leadership changes we've discussed, it's time to look at the decision to withdraw. General Munro, who took over command during the campaign, recommended a withdrawal. He saw that the campaign was facing too many problems to succeed. His recommendation for pulling out was quite bold, but was soon confirmed by Lord Kitchener after his visit to the peninsula. Kitchener agreed that the situation needed a change.
Exactly, and the withdrawal process was carefully planned. It happened in different phases to ensure the safety of the troops. By doing it step by step, they minimized risks and managed to get everyone out without further loss. The operation was successful and concluded on January 9, 1916. Wrapping up the campaign this way marked a significant shift because it showed that sometimes retreating can be a strategic victory.
It's interesting to think about what the Gallipoli campaign achieved in the end. Though the Allied forces faced many difficulties, one of the outcomes was that it drew large Turkish troops away from the Russian front. This, in a way, helped the Allies on a different battlefield. Yet, considering the overall objectives, the campaign didn't meet its original goals and was seen as a less effective military effort.
Yes, the reputation of the Allies took a hit globally. People started questioning their military capabilities because of the failed outcomes. Despite having so many brave soldiers, including from Australia and New Zealand, the execution of the campaign wasn't handled well. Criticisms came from many sides, and it affected how the world viewed them. The whole situation led to serious contemplation over leadership and strategy in warfare.
The Gallipoli campaign holds a special place in discussions about modern warfare. It was not just a battle, but a mix of strategies, plans, and outcomes that teach us important lessons even today. It reminds us how vital careful planning and execution are in any mission. The campaign showed that having a strong plan is only the beginning. For success, the steps taken must be clear and well thought out.
Absolutely. Analyzing the Gallipoli campaign highlights the importance of leadership and tactical execution. The leaders faced tough choices and challenges. Many soldiers who joined were inexperienced and lacked the needed tools. This showed how important it is to have command that can adapt to situations. They found themselves learning on the go, which is never easy in such conditions. Their experience taught future military planners what to do better.
The campaign also brought about a notable shift in public perception and diplomatic relations. People began to doubt the military capabilities of the Allies. This shift influenced how countries saw each other afterward. Moreover, the campaign's failure prompted a re-evaluation of strategies. Leaders learned from the mistakes, leading to changes in how future military efforts were planned and executed. The diplomatic strain also reshaped international friendships.
And let's not forget the Anzac forces. They played a crucial role in the Gallipoli campaign and went on to be remembered with great respect and honor. The brave spirit and sacrifices of the Australian and New Zealand troops are celebrated every year, keeping their legacy alive. Gallipoli has become a part of culture, language, and national pride. It is more than a historic event. It's a symbol of bravery and endurance.
As we come to the end of our look at the Gallipoli campaign, let's remember the key lessons we have learned. This event was marked by brave efforts from everyone involved, even when they faced tough conditions. Gallipoli teaches us about the importance of planning and teamwork. The soldiers and leaders gave their best, showing great courage in times of adversity. Their sacrifices should never be forgotten.
Indeed, Gallipoli's story is one of strength and history. It shows that even in hard times, people can act bravely. We should all think about the past and see how it shapes today and our future. If you enjoyed today's insights, please like this episode and leave a comment. We would love for you to subscribe and join us again for more of these historical stories.